Hey, everybody. Welcome. This is our somewhat annual roadmap reveal. We don't always have the tightest schedule on it, but roughly annually, we do this session. It's always one that I know I'm excited about, simply because it's a chance for us to take some of the things that we're working on, show the starting points to the world that for us makes the work more tangible and opens up opportunities to begin getting feedback from our community and our customers. So to start with introductions, I'm Chris Skelly. I'm the Chief Product Officer. I've been with Rocket.Chat, gosh, I guess just about 4 years now.
Time's flying. Yeah. We're having fun.
That's right. That's right. And I'm located in Washington, D.C. And Gabriel?
Hi, everybody. Yeah, good to see you. Kind of like not seeing, but good to have everybody joining us for the semi-annual roadmap reveal. And I guess just echoing Chris' words, it's a road of both ways. I like sharing what we've been working on, what we've been planning to work on, our vision for where the platform needs to go, where the market is going. But also, it's always a good opportunity to hear back from the community, from customers, from enthusiasts, like feedback, ideas. So let's keep this interactive. I'm Gabriel Engel. I'm the CEO, and I'm based in South Brazil, Porto Alegre. So morning, that's what I gave. Good morning. Even more morning for Chris, but I guess it's good afternoon and maybe good evening for some people. So hi everybody.
Yeah, that's right. I think we have people registered from all over the world, which is great. So, all right, let's go ahead and jump in. I'll take you through the agenda real quick on what we're covering. We'll start with an introduction that, for those who may be a little bit newer to Rocket.Chat, we can provide you with a little bit of a view on how we work, how we plan and organize our roadmap. We're going to be talking about Rocket.Chat Secure CommsOS, which is a newer topic for a lot of people. And then we're going to cycle through some updates and really high-level information on some of the key things that we plan to be delivering in 2025. So we'll go through native matrix federation. We'll talk a little bit about navigation and user experience changes. More and more what we're seeing is large workspaces operating at significant scale, and that's brought up a number of pain points on navigation and user experience that we're addressing and diving into. Next, we'll talk about VoIP calling and video conferencing updates. I'll touch a little bit on Rocket.Chat AI in terms of what we have launched so far, where we're going during the course of 2025, and why we think it's a great incremental value to our customers. And then we'll talk about omni-channel improvements. And as you can see here, we've really framed it as citizen engagement, because more and more our omni-channel solution is being used by government agencies to interact with, provide services to their citizens, to their constituents. Okay. And then we'll leave time for Q&A at the end of the session. But as always, if you have questions as we're going through, please feel free to log those in the question tab, and we'll try to address as many of those as possible as we get to the end. As questions come up, also, a member of a team may just reply in the chat, or Gabriel and I may switch over and try to answer those as we go. All right, cool. Okay, so to start with, a little bit of foundational information about Rocket.Chat. We focus on secure and sovereign communications. So the team has been at this now for the better part of the decade, and a lot of things have changed in terms of us as an organization, how we work, how we operate as a commercial open source business. But one thing hasn't changed a single bit, that our core mission is to enable organizations to own their conversations, to own their communications, fully secure, sovereign communications. That was true on day one, and it's just as true today. So what does that mean for those of you who are new to Rocket.Chat? We deliver secure, sovereign communications and collaboration workspaces. Second, really important, for every organization that uses Rocket.Chat, you own your workspace, you own your data. Third, you choose where and how you deploy Rocket.Chat. The vast majority of Rocket.Chat workspaces are self-managed, self-deployed on the hardware, cloud services, whatever an organization chooses, that they select. We do provide hosting for a small number of organizations. Whenever we provide hosting services, those are single tenant, portable fortress environments that if an organization decides they want to take their workspace and go elsewhere, they are free to do that at any point in time. Going back to the prior point, you always own your workspace and you own your data. Okay. And then lastly, an important consideration is every workspace owner controls their connectivity. And so some organizations may choose to connect their workspace to different systems, to external messaging channels, to federate with other messaging platforms or other Rocket.Chat workspaces, but they make that decision. There are organizations that may want to be connected, and then there are other organizations that want to operate in a fully air-gapped environment, and it's up to each workspace owner what degree of connectivity they select or that they choose not to select. Okay, so it's a little bit about us, just foundational as we get started. Now the second part, just to understand our balancing act that we always have as a commercial open source business. Our core team is continually investing in a number of things where we balance the needs of different types of users. So the first thing, again, we are MIT open source, and then we operate a dual licensing model where we offer commercial features to customers on a commercial licensing basis. So that MIT open source core is the foundation of Rocket.Chat. So we're always investing in that core. We're always working to improve that core. For anyone who kind of follows us in detail on GitHub and reviews our release notes and the PRs that we're merging, you'll see that on a regular basis, we have significant work going into the core, both completed by the core team and work being done by contributors who submit PRs, contributions to the code base. Okay. Second, we're always extending the capabilities of our commercial solutions. We'll be talking about some of those during the course of the day today. Third, and really important, we provide free usage of commercial capabilities via our starter plan. So the starter plan, we introduced it, gosh, what was it, Gabriel, about a year and a half, somewhere between a year and a half, 2 years ago. And what the starter plan does is it enables small organizations to operate at limited scale, up to 50 users, and have access to commercial capabilities for a workspace using the starter license. This has been really valuable to us and I think to the community as well, in that by giving access to commercial capabilities for small organizations, we allow everyone to see the potential of the commercial offerings and also provide feedback. So it's been really great. We're definitely proud to say that we're approaching 10,000 operating workspaces that are using the starter plan. We're very realistic on this. We know that the majority of those will continue to use starter plan kind of out forever. We're good with that. That's a great thing. We think that strengthens our community. And we've also been really happy to see organizations who begin with the starter plan, and then as they grow their workspace, they move into commercial relationships. So that's been a key part of how we've operated over the last few years. Okay. And then lastly, just a note and a reminder is our core repository is of course MIT open source, but we also include our commercial, or what we call enterprise code, as source available within that repo. That functionality, those capabilities require a license, But the reason why that code is included in the core repo as source available is so that the highly secure operations that we support can do a code audit to the bottom. And we think that that's a very important part of our operating model. Okay. Gabriel, anything you wanted to add in terms of the evolution on how we work?
No, I think you have put it really well. It has been quite a journey to get here, to understand like really what are the differentiations from Rocket.Chat, where we really shine, the product advantage. And the CommsOS, what we are presenting today, it's the final, like the cornerstone, like making it clear all the efforts, all the initiatives around security, around data sovereignty, and the big role that open source plays on top of it, not just allowing full visibility of the code base, but even on the collaboration with security specialists who have partners and users of Rocket.Chat inside auditing companies, vulnerability testing companies that help us maintaining an eye on how Rocket.Chat develops on everything that we do. So I really like how this all tied together. The fact that how we deliver Rocket.Chat, how we build it on the open, how we build it in collaboration with community and security experts, and that allows us to build such an important platform with privacy, security, sovereignty in mind. So I think that's becoming more and more clear as you show the path throughout the presentation today.
Yeah, terrific. Okay. Steve Goldman, I see, has a question about air-gapped installation. So in short, yes, you can follow our deployment guides for air-gapped installation. And also, if you're focusing on VMware, we do have an OVA option that we've used recently. I think Milton is providing some details, but feel free to reach out to us on that. Okay. All right. Okay. Secure CommsOS. As anyone who's been following Rocket.Chat for a period of time, what you've seen from us over the last few years is we've been extending the capabilities of Rocket.Chat well beyond just messaging. We've been adding support for video, for voice, AI. We've been continuing to expand Apps Engine as a toolkit for extending and customizing Rocket.Chat capabilities. And where that brings us to is our view of our platform footprint, which we refer to as Secure CommsOS, specifically for mission critical operations. And a note in here, all organizations, in my view their operations as mission critical. That's just the basic reality. You can be a small organization that's focused on data security. You can be operating critical infrastructure at large scale. You can be a government agency that's focused on data sovereignty. You can be a larger organization that a portion of your operations require out-of-band communications. Or you could be a large defense and intelligence agency. Doesn't matter what type of organization you are, for you, in your work, in your daily journey, your operations are mission critical. We treat them that way. So we bring together messaging, voice, video, your critical apps and integrations, and AI to keep teams connected and their missions protected. That is Secure CommsOS. Reason why it's relevant as we go into all the things that we're working on and that we're building, it's helpful to have context. When we talk about Secure CommsOS, that is our platform footprint. So let me take you through what that means. So within the footprint, as we're looking at Rocket.Chat, we are always looking for ways to improve our offering within this space. What you're not generally going to see is new adventures outside of this. So let me describe the footprint. That way, as we go through each of the items, you can see how each of the pieces fit together. Okay. So first, when we talk about Secure CommsOS, what is it? First, we provide everything that you and your organization needs to deploy your workspace, secure your workspace, and monitor activity within that workspace. Those three elements are what we're always focused on in terms of ensuring that you are able to have the data privacy and sovereignty that we believe is essential for every organization. Then we think about the teams, your team, and the capabilities that we're delivering. We provide everything that your users, your team members need to collaborate in a variety of different ways. If you choose to connect external parties, we provide you with the capabilities that you need to engage with external parties, whether they're your partners, whether they're your customers or citizens. Third, the productivity of any team really comes down to the aggregate productivity of individuals. So we provide additional features, additional capabilities to make sure that each of your team members can operate as efficiently as possible, whether it's AI assistants or personal productivity tools. All of those things are essential to make sure that each individual can be productive. And then lastly, really importantly, with Secure CommsOS, nobody lives on an island. And you have, most organizations have a variety of different systems that they're interested in integrating with. And there are always a degree of organization-specific needs that we want to ensure that Rocket.Chat can be easily extended, adapted, and customized to fit the specific needs of your organization. So on the integration side, of course, we deliver Apps Engine. We have our REST APIs. You're able to embed Rocket.Chat in other systems if you need to. And we provide a variety of tools for customizing room appearance and behaviors, and then visual customization across the platform. Okay, so we wanted to start here. So when everybody thinks about Rocket.Chat, this is a helpful way to visualize our footprint. And as we go through, what you'll see is some of the items that we talk about today. You'll see them neatly fit into this grid. Okay, Gabriel, anything you wanted to add on this front? Oh, I think you might be on mute.
Yeah, I muted myself. No, I was just saying, like, I really like the way we managed to create this grid and the matrix of the footprint. It shows the context of the CommsOS, like you're presenting here. It shows that what goes beyond, how Rocket.Chat today goes beyond chat, and what we mean when we have a whole platform to build your communication strategy on top. And again, they have different levels of maturity of each of those components, but give people clarity of what we are aiming for to build and to support. And obviously some of those styles, it doesn't mean that necessarily are Rocket.Chat home built components, like I said, but partnerships, integrations, but at least that you have the optionality to slot in the best of breed of your own components to build the full picture. So I think that's a very important point, that a lot of those components are going to be built by us, but a lot of those components are also provided by strong partnerships that we're building.
Yeah, really good point. Good point. Ashish was asking about multi-tenancy. So let me address that one real quick. It's relevant to this particular slide.
Yeah, I was writing the answer as well at the same time.
Yeah. It's a good timing. So going back to some of the introduction in terms of owning your workspace, owning your data. At this point in time, we're not prioritizing full multi-tenancy capabilities for workspaces. That's intentional, and that's one of our current position. What we do provide are logical separations where needed on the team collaboration capabilities, where you can set up teams, for example, that allow you to organize different rooms, different channels into different subgroups within your organization. On the omni-channel and citizen engagement side, we do have business unit capabilities to provide that same kind of logical separation. But at this point, we do not intend to offer a fully multi-tenant version. Okay, Ashish, hopefully that's helpful.
Yeah, and I think one, I was writing, giving a little bit more color to this. As we break Rocket.Chat into more of microservices architecture, and that's on the enterprise license, on the premium licenses, there is sometimes when you find opportunities to be able then to even to share microservices if you have different tenants, if they are stateless, So although it's not like something that we plan to build Rocket.Chat, and so you can share a single instance of the container, and that support different customers with different settings with different. We do expect more of the hardware resources on the microservices architecture on the enterprise license to be shareable between multi-tenants. But having said that, it's not like we have a specific date or a plan and yet like have worked on how to do it. It's more as we've seen and starting to build microservices, we are understanding that that can be done, and some of those then microservices are going to be shareable, making it the loads easier to share across multi-tenants for Rocket.Chat partners licensing the enterprise license to their customers. But it's a big, just a caveat, like going a little bit too deep, maybe.
No, definitely helpful. So, yeah. Okay, so we're going to now switch gears, jump into the details of some of the things that we are we have currently underway and expect to deliver during 2025. It's good that we have some questions coming. For any of you who would like to ask more detailed questions and learn a little bit more afterwards, please respond to the poll, and we'll make sure that you get the assistance that you need. Okay, so let's talk about native matrix federation. So a little bit of history. A number of years ago, Rocket.Chat had begun the workspace federation journey with a proprietary solution. And that was a great step for learning purposes. But Gabriel, in terms of thinking about the direction that we want to go in, was very focused on ensuring that we are adhering to a protocol. And in evaluating different protocols, we felt that the matrix protocol was the strongest option. And we proceeded forward with supporting matrix protocol. To do that in our initial step, and what we've done over the last couple of years, is we've used an external matrix home server. So other people on the call may have been using the solution where the open source Synapse matrix home server, a lot of words in there, is deployed in conjunction with Rocket.Chat, and then that enables federation across Rocket.Chat workspaces using matrix protocol or with other matrix protocol compliant messaging systems. That's been a great way for us to get started. It's been a really good learning exercise. But we've seen some limitations. And so, first, we've seen scaling and stability challenges with the solution. Second, what we've seen in talking to different organizations using federation, there are opportunities to extend beyond the existing protocol and home server capabilities to provide additional features, especially for organizations that are focused on federating between Rocket.Chat workspaces specifically. And as a result, at this point, we are deprecating the external home server model in favor of native federation. So our teams are currently underway with the build work to replace the external matrix home server model with an internal native matrix federation solution. I'll describe it in a moment, but a quick note, even though we're marking the existing solution for deprecation, it will be available until the internal native solution is available to all users. Okay, so why are we going this direction? First, I may have page there. That's Gabriel's way of making sure I move along.
No. I'm sorry.
So first, improve performance and scalability. Second is really important, that you don't need to deploy any additional assets. With the internal native solution, every Rocket.Chat workspace will ship matrix federation capable. No additional assets to deploy. Third, as I mentioned, we plan to pursue that opportunity to expand federation capabilities, especially for customers who are focused on federating Rocket.Chat workspaces with each other, and then also federating with other protocols like XMPP, for example. Okay, the internal native solution, we expect to be available in August 2025. Okay. The initial release, just so everyone is clear on what we'll have available at that point in time, will deliver feature parity with the current external solution that we have. So all of the persistent and ephemeral events that we process for federation purposes will be matched with the internal solution. That's then our starting line, where we can then begin to improve on the solution as we progress. This is a big change. This is really a key step for us. We're very excited about the direction we can go. We're very excited to be coordinating with other members of the Matrix Protocol Foundation. And this is going to be a big step for us. So Gabriel, this has been, I know, near and dear to your heart for a while. So any additional items you want to add?
Yeah, I think, again, this has been quite a journey of us like dreaming to improve how you connect to Rocket.Chat servers. We started all the way back on trying to build our own protocol, then realized there's a lot of the technical like foundation and concepts that already exists in the Matrix Federation, and we are all for interoperability, open source, about connectivity. So rather than even reinventing the wheel, so like, okay, let's try to adhere to a protocol there has already some critical mass. The fast ways to do it, and then for us to test and see if people and organizations and the community really had a use and like the idea was adding the site server. So there was this bridge connecting the two servers and mirroring what was happening on the Matrix home server. And then the logical step is, once as a proof of concept this was tested and it's something there is a demand, we can see the potential, but we encounter like we get to the edge of this functionality and say like, okay, to go beyond, we need to go beyond the mirroring of servers. Let's like build this internally. So we are very excited about this last step of being able to then fully turn Rocket.Chat to a native speaker of the protocol. It allows us, like I said, to extend. We have some ideas, some things that some of our customers are bringing as requirements and requests for us to do that we're going to have to build on top and even contribute some stuff to improve the Matrix for the protocol itself. So for me, it's a very exciting time to finally have Rocket.Chat natively speaking this protocol and being able to now go beyond the existing capabilities and really help to take the federation forward. So I'm very, very excited for that.
Yeah. This one is big. This is a big event for us during the course of the year. I know we can't cover much more detail, but again, going back to the poll, if you'd like to learn more, please reach out. We're happy to share additional details. Okay. All right. We have a lot of different items, so I'm going to be going through slides very quickly. I'm sure there will be follow-up questions. Feel free to ask them. We can also have follow-up discussions, but I'll be going through kind of rapid fire. We have a lot of slides because the teams are very excited, as they should be, to share the things that they're working on. So I'll probably spend just a minute or two on each slide. Okay. So next item, workspace event logging and audit. This has been an item that has been requested by a lot of customers and community members. In version 7.5, which is now available, we launched the foundation needed for workspace event logging and audit, meaning the actual logging mechanism, the APIs. And in our next release, we'll be launching the front ends so that admins can review these security logs. To give a quick summary of what this is, every time there's a change made, a configuration or setting change made within a workspace, all of those are logged together with obviously the timestamp, what user initiated the change. And this is really important, especially for secure operations, to make sure that they have visibility into anything that has changed in their operations. So there's been a gap that a number of customers have have asked about. And we're delivering it's already, again, available via API now. And in 7.6, the front end will be available. Okay. The other important item on the in the security space, and what you'll see is a theme. Rocket.Chat has always focused on the deploy anywhere model, which of course optimizes for perimeter security. But we also invest pretty heavily in security capabilities within the perimeter, whether it's our very granular custom roles and permissions, the logging that I just mentioned. And over the last couple of years, we have provided attribute-based access control, primarily for security clearance within defense and intelligence, that we've delivered using Apps Engine. Great solutions. It's a case where Apps Engine delivers a lot of extensibility for Rocket.Chat. But what we've seen is that organizations are becoming more sophisticated with their ABAC needs. And we believe that this functionality should shift from custom Apps Engine delivered solutions to core. So we are delivering later this year the ABAC solution. We will likely concentrate initially on security clearance handling, but our structure, which will be NIST SP 800 compliant, will also enable organizations to use other attributes, whether it's the device, geolocation, time-based access, et cetera, from external trusted systems to dynamically update access for different individuals. In the defense space, you may have different access if you're on base versus off base, for example. So this is a key step. Again, the capabilities are available via Apps Engine now. This is being shifted to core. We'll also have additional flexibility built in, and will be fully NIST SP 800 compliant with the new model. Okay, enhanced navigation. A little bit of background on this. What we've seen over the years is there are more and more large-scale workspaces running Rocket.Chat. That's great. One of them is our own with the open server. What that brings into play as you add more and more rooms, more and more discussions, more and more channels, more and more DMs, more and more threads, is that navigation can become a challenge. So for these high traffic workspaces, we've been focused on a number of things. First, introducing a second level navigation that allows us to separate notification types and show natural hierarchical relationships. For example, channels associated with teams, discussions associated with channels. So that second level navigation will be very useful in terms of just organizing rooms. Next, we're adding a global header for clarity and context. Makes it easy to access recent items and key features across the platform. Third, we're creating a more predictable and structured navigation model. There are a lot of capabilities in there in terms of being able to collapse sections and such that are useful. All of this, the intention is to reduce some of the cognitive load and distractions when you're navigating through your conversations, so that team members can focus on what they need to take action on, what's most important. Next, we're ensuring that all of the navigation is meeting WCAG accessibility requirements. As we've talked about, we have more and more government agencies using Rocket.Chat. We have more and more organizations that are focusing on ensuring that they are meeting WCAG requirements. So this is very true for navigation, but it's true with everything that we do, that we're investing in ensuring that we are meeting those requirements. We do have, for anyone who's interested, we have VPAT statements available for iOS, Android, and web as well, that outline some of the things that we're investing in. Okay.
Yeah, this one is very, very close to heart. As a heavy user of Rocket.Chat and chat systems in general, always testing. And I think I speak for many people when describe that currently in a lot of those systems, this experience of having a never-ending conversation, how easy it is to lose topics and people to be context switching, even if sometimes if you're using threads, but then the threads get lost and then you don't have kind of like the status of that thread. Was it like a completed conversation? Did you get to an end? So the way you see there is this organic a little bit of chaos that we have been trying to organize into discussions and threads in different systems have been treating them differently. And we want to go one step further in trying to really be a more topic based or topic first type of conversation. And with all that real estate that the second nav bar opens up, give us the ability to then explore prioritization of topics, status of topics, maybe even having like assigning to people. So when you say that the enhanced navigation is also a productivity enhancement, it is really helping people and organizations to structure their conversations, the topics, the thing that they have to stay on top in a much easier way, to be able like even to tag those topics, prioritize, flag for later, like it's news. I don't know, it gives a lot of different ways to organize how they prioritize what they need answer, what they need to work on, what you're waiting for someone to reply. We really want to be make it in the conversation, give you all the tools so you can be more productive and more organized than trying to remember where something was said. Like, did you reply to everything there was on that specific conversation? Or whenever you get back from your holiday or something, you need to read a massive history to try to identify whether it's something that you need to be on top of. So this enhanced navigation for the second nav bar, more real estate, more space for buttons and functionality. Plus, we're going to talk later about Rocket.Chat AI. We believe the Rocket.Chat can be more than just like a chat tool or a video conferencing tool, a real productivity booster in how organizations work. And we are very much one of the big users of this kind of functionality, since we are like this distributed company that works on Rocket.Chat all the time. So Rocket.Chat can become almost like a little bit of a task manager, a one-on-one and meetings agenda tool. And so I'm very excited about having this updated real estate and so you can explore all that functionality.
Yeah, definitely. And a note on this also, we're all creatures of habit, right? And so one of the challenges when you're changing and improving navigation is it can produce some cognitive dissonance as well, right? Because it's wait, I'm used to this being here, and now it's moved. So all of the navigation changes, which I'll go through rapid fire in a moment, will be provided under feature preview, meaning that users, admins can determine whether they're active for a workspace. That's very intentional to try to reduce the cognitive dissonance that can come from team members as we shift things, give people time to absorb and adjust their work.
Yeah, and something to ask everybody to remind, like we're trying to make those changes gradual. So some of the stuff, not just because it takes time to develop and test, but also so it's not like a big break from one design and one hierarchy to another completely different. We're going to try to make like a transition as we introduce these new elements gradually, so people can start building a habit, trying it on, give us feedback, and then as we pass to the next phase of development. So we do have a final vision, but we will implement it gradually, and hopefully people will keep updating Rocket.Chat, testing like how each like self-contained piece of functionality that you add to the workspace is starting to be used, and also give us feedback so you can get even better on the next iteration. So it's going to be a collaborative design approach. We have a final vision, but we're going to take some time to gather, and there's some exploration along the way.
Hey, I'm going to shift gears slightly because Asbjorn has asked an important question that I'd like to just read and address. So as there's a possible shift in the use of American-based owned technology, are considering managed solutions for smaller teams, organizations? So I just want to touch on that. Going back to our very first statement opening things up, since day one, Rocket.Chat has been focused on ensuring that organizations own their conversation. What we mean by that is your conversations are exactly that. They are not subject to oversight, audit, intrusion by any governing authority. That is vital. That's been core to our DNA since day one, and it's just as important now. So there's obviously a decent amount of political upheaval in the world at any point in time, but especially now. And one thing to note, we're not now looking at data sovereignty and security. Since day one, that is what we focus on. So, Osbjorn, to address your question, your concern and the question that you're raising, and a concern that is more and more visible within the world right now, has been ours since day one. You have to be able to own your conversations, to have confidence in that. So as a result, you can deploy your workspace anywhere. It's yours. No one has access to your conversations. As I was talking about in terms of our open source and source available model, all of the code is auditable to the bottom to ensure that. In relation to your team, your question about managed solutions, we work with a variety of partners around the world. So if your organization is unsure about their ability to deploy Rocket.Chat themselves, and you would like to have a hosting partner that's resident within whatever domicile you select, please let us know, and we're happy to point you in the right direction. Okay. All right. So a little bit of an aside, but an important one, to pause on. Okay. All right. So we're going to go through some of the details on the navigation. I am going to go very quickly. Global header is being introduced. As you can see, clear access to recent items, key features throughout the platform. Again, will be available under feature preview. Okay. Navigation filters. They provide easy access to mentions, starred rooms, discussions. As noted before, with the restructuring, we're able to address some of the WCAG accessibility challenges that we've seen. So this will be, again, a key step forward for us. As noted before, also available under feature preview. So if teams are working through making the adjustments, you can control whether whether the navigation filters are active or not. Okay. All right. Room filters, as I had mentioned, there is a natural hierarchy. Teams can have channels associated with them. Teams can have discussions associated with them. Channels can be parents channels can be parents of discussions. So the second sidebar gives us the ability to show those hierarchical relationships. It gives a much more kind of natural, intuitive way to navigate. If you are a member of the product team, and simply click on the product team, you see all of the different discussions and channels that are pertinent to that particular team. If you click on engineering, you'll see a different grouping. Okay. Tagging. This one is near and dear to my heart. So on a daily basis, and I'm sure it's true for many of you, I get a lot of Rocket.Chat messages, and I'm always kind of struggling to make sure that I'm following up on the right items, attempting in vain to keep myself organized and get back to people appropriately. That can be difficult to do. What we're introducing with message tagging is the ability for me to set tags that I'm going to use to organize my follow-up work. I may have on a given day 15 different items that I'm going to mark as follow-up with Gabriel, for example. Have a lot of those across my daily work. Organizing that and providing the ability for every team member to organize their follow-ups, tag messages as they see fit, to self-organize is really important. So we do not have a date yet on the delivery of this. We're delivering the other navigation items first, then we'll focus on tagging, but we will be focusing on this and delivering capabilities in the second half of this year. Okay. All right. Like I said, I'm really excited about this one. I will somehow, Gabriel, be a little bit more.
It can make a lot of difference when you give people this tools. So we are actually quite curious to see how people use all this functionality, because we just open up so many different ways for people to organize their work and their daily routine. So I'm always excited to see how when you put feature like that in the hands of our users, the things that they can come up with, and I'm very curious.
Okay, intelligent search. This one I have added in, but I want to provide a few caveats. We believe that it is important also for large-scale workspaces for users to be able to securely search messages across all of their rooms, all of their DMs, channels, threads, discussions. We have a lot of open questions right now on the specifics in terms of how we're delivering the capability. One thing that we don't have any question on, of course, is ensuring that all of our access controls are closely managed in relation to any search capabilities. We are actively evaluating this. We will be focusing on and delivering search capabilities again in the second half of the year. As we have details on the exact approach and they emerge throughout the year, we will share some of the information as we progress into the build. Also for current customers or large-scale community users, we would love to talk to you about this effort and get some existing customers and community members involved for feedback during the course of the build out on intelligent search. Okay. All right. We're running a few minutes long, so I'm going to go really quickly on these remaining few slides. So VoIP, we launched VoIP in 2024. We have a beta tag on VoIP primarily to make sure that we have time to work out refinements to the user experience, and then also make sure that we're getting our scaling and stability proof points in place. We plan to be exiting beta soon, not naming the date right now, but it will be soon. One of the key things, just to give an example, when we launched the VoIP calling widget, which is a floating component that floats over the surface of the rest of the Rocket.Chat interface, wasn't draggable. So it could end up blocking different things. Now you can just reposition those controls wherever you want. An interesting note, when we get into embedded video, we will likely be using these same floating controls. So we've been putting some effort into making sure that they work in as intuitive and seamless way as possible for users. Okay. Another important one, what we refer to as embedded or persistent chat within video conferences. So for video conferencing platforms working in conjunction with Rocket.Chat that enable us to embed a Rocket.Chat conversation to replace the native in-conference chat, we have a number of improvements. We work closely with PEXIP on a lot of our secure deployments. The PEXIP platform enables us to essentially turn off the native chat within the conference and replace it with Rocket.Chat. So what you're seeing, and I know the image is a little bit fuzzy, is a case of our typical implementation where when a PEXIP conference is initiated, we create a discussion that's used for that conference. What this enables us to do is for organizations that have a need to retain those in-conference conversations, we provide that record retention. After the conference, you can go into Rocket.Chat, you can find the appropriate discussion and review the chat from that conference call. Very important capability, especially for government entities that have record retention requirements. We're able to deliver this. When we launched this capability last year, we had certain restrictions on when it could be used. So if the conference call is launched from Rocket.Chat using our standard video conferencing connector, we could easily replace out the PEXIP in-conference chat with embedded Rocket.Chat discussion. We had some limitations on meetings that were initiated outside of Rocket.Chat, and we're in the process of resolving those so that if you launch a meeting from, say, your Outlook calendar, we can also replace in the Rocket.Chat discussion. So really important step. Probably butchered some of the details on that. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out and can put you in touch with the appropriate product manager. Okay, Rocket.Chat AI. And we're a few minutes over, but I think we're down to the last couple slides. That'll leave us about 10 minutes for questions. So Rocket.Chat, what we focus on is AI as a tool, not a toy. So secure, self-managed AI to drive productivity of your team and ensuring that none of your data needs to leave your building, your control, your premises. So what do we provide? First, it's fully self-managed. We are model agnostic. Whatever model you choose to use, whether it's Llama or something else, Rocket.Chat will connect with and interact with that model. Second, we've introduced streaming responses so that when you're interacting with Rocket.Chat AI and you ask a particular question, let's say, or you request a conversation summary, instead of getting a block response, you'll receive those responses in a streaming mode. Third, we've introduced an agentic connector that can be used for various agentic AI behavior, whether it's agentic RAG, function calling, or other capabilities. Okay. So where are we with Rocket.Chat AI? What are we in the process of delivering? So conversation summarization for summarizing threads, unread messages, and omni-channel conversations. That is available today and highly performant quality solution. Second, knowledge-based Q&A. We also enable currently customers to ingest in-house knowledge, could be from your knowledge base, other internal databases, into a RAG pipeline of your choosing. If you have one that you use, great. We have the integration points to work with it. If you need a RAG pipeline, then we can also provide one as well. It enables organizations to ingest their data so that their team members can interact with Rocket.Chat AI for general Q&A purposes and get highly relevant, high quality synthesized responses back from the LLM in a way that is aware of your internal knowledge. Okay. Now, two additional things that are in progress and will have to be, that will be available shortly. First, live translations. So I think as a lot of people know, we offer live translations using external cloud services. What we're delivering with Rocket.Chat AI is fully on-prem, fully self-managed live translations. This is really important for a lot of organizations that do not want those messages sent to an external translation service. This will be available sometime within the next couple of releases. Likely 7.7. I probably gave a couple members of the team a heart attack on that, but somewhere in the 7.7, 7.8 range. Okay. And then lastly, an important note. We are also delivering extensible prompt guardrails and source attribution. So going back to give an example on knowledge-based Q&A. It's really important that any user has clarity that they are getting accurate, appropriate replies, especially if you're interacting in a real life environment where you're going to be taking action on the responses from the LLM. So first, prompt guardrails. Using an extensible library, we're enabling organizations to ensure that natural LLM prompt exploits are managed and controlled for. And then secondly, with source attribution. Let's say that at Rocket.Chat, this is something we actually do, where we've loaded internal documentation and support information. And I ask a question of Rocket.Chat AI, asking about, for example, air-gapped deployments and VMware. I'll get a response, but if I just simply get a response, I don't know all of the details behind that. So what we're introducing is source attribution. So I can ask that question, I'll get a synthesized response from Rocket.Chat AI. And if I want, I can request the sources and I'll get essentially a bibliography of sources that were used by the LLM to compile a response. Okay. So going back to it, Rocket.Chat AI, again, it is a tool, not a toy. We're focused on making sure that we're delivering fully self-managed on-prem solutions so that secure operations who make up our community members and our customers are able to confidently use these solutions. And again, we are also focusing on real-world situations where we need to provide a level of sophistication to ensure that every answer is accurate, that if a user needs the underlying details and those references, the source attribution, that they have access to them. Okay. All right. So those items are coming soon as well. And lastly, we're a few minutes over, but lastly, outbound communications, and I'm going to finish up with this one. With omnichannel, our model has always been a reactive model. So an organization that is using omnichannel for customer or citizen support and communication, when we receive an inbound message from a customer or citizen, an agent is then able to engage in that conversation, reply, have an appropriate conversation. But what we don't do is initiate conversations outbound. That's changing. What we're seeing, especially within the citizen engagement space, is there are valid, important reasons why the agency or the organization needs to initiate a conversation with a customer or citizen. So we're providing those capabilities. Outbound communications, when it's delivered later on this year, will have two components. We'll enable person-to-person outbounds, and we will also enable campaign-based outbounds. So person-to-person, Gabriel has an appointment with a government agency. You can send an outbound reminding him what time the appointment is, for example. Campaign-based items can be sent to a pool of users with a specific customized personal message to each of those users. Okay. So I kind of went rapid fire because we've had a lot to cover today. The conclusion from my side, and Gabriel, I'd love to hear your wrap-up thoughts. We're really excited about the things that we have working their way through our development efforts. We've only been able to touch on some of the high-level details on each one, but we would love to have conversations about the underlying details, get feedback. As mentioned, we generally are looking to include customers and community members during our build effort for feedback. So if the items that we've talked about are relevant to your organization, please reach out, and we'd love to figure out how to have you involved. Okay.
Yes, absolutely. Like I said, some of those features around the enhanced navigation, the native federation, this outbound communication, a lot of those are functionality that we love to hear your feedback, your design partnership about, and hopefully we're really trying to make if there's one takeaway from this whole presentation about the CommsOS and how Rocket.Chat has evolved from being just like a chat platform to understand that is a whole suite, like a productivity tool that is really focused on security, privacy, data sovereignty, then flexibility, and bringing all your conversations, all this communication into one place, that the organization is able to, like we like to say, own their communication, make it their own, both in terms of how they are structured, like the tagging, the distribution into the discussions and teams and topics, about where it's stored, what kind of AI has access to it. So it goes far beyond when you really say you own your communication. It's really like we mean it, right? It's all the way from how you organize, how you store, how you use it, the data, and where it's transited, and giving you even the tools to build more functionality on top. So that's for us is a real operating system for communication, that communicating operating system focused on security. And we're inviting everybody to join us in this journey, on this vision, to continue deliver that and building that platform.
Okay. All right. I've been Gabriel, while you were talking, I was scanning back through questions. I think the team has been addressing most of the items as they've been coming up. Before we close out, I know we ran a little bit long on the presentation, but are there other questions that people would like to raise before we wrap up the session? Okay.
Yeah, hi team. Just to jump in, as you said, Chris, I was monitoring questions. I think most of it is answered. There is one question on whether Secure CommsOS is another plan like Starter and Pro. So maybe just a bit clarity on that from your end, and then we can, I think, close with that.
Yeah, understood. No, it is not a separate plan. And Secure CommsOS provides visibility in how we think about the footprint of our platform. And the journey that we've been on is making sure that Rocket.Chat is providing everything that teams need to, as I mentioned before, to deploy, secure, and monitor their workspaces, and that they have then a variety of different collaboration tools. It's a way of defining our footprint. And I think hopefully we'll provide clarity in terms of the direction of our roadmap and where we're heading. But no, it is not a separate pricing plan.
Yeah, it's more like it's a whole vision for the product. And you can think about the starter plan, maybe you cover some of those components across the CommOS, and then some of those to be more specific to enterprise are going to be components of the CommsOS that are only available on enterprise. But as a vision for the product, the CommsOS is just the framework for thinking about everything we build, how they slot into the architecture, and the availability of the components. Then it will depend on specific plans, but it's not a new plan.
Yeah, and we encourage everyone to visit the web pricing page, because there it's displayed on what enters each plan. So I see some questions around the packages as well here.
Yeah, there was some when I gave a reply, I think it was about the microservices. Please join our dev team if we want to discuss some of the microservice architecture better. I wouldn't be able to give you. I don't think I have documentation specific for each of those on how you deploy, but so joining the open server is probably the best way to get to know how the architecture is being deployed and what the microservices that are available in the plan.
Yeah, and there is just one left from Tony. If we can cover it quickly, I think we can take a minute or two.
Have you considered separating pure administration functionality from the RC regular user space by providing admin access only to a separate network port or running process? It would create risks, decrease risks involved with those advanced auditing features in particular. That's a good point. We have been.
Yeah. So sorry, go ahead, Gabriel. I have a few points to add.
Okay, no, we're always looking into this kind of improvement. I know that there was some work while building.
I'm not sure if Gabriel has.
Yeah. I think we lost him. So Chris.
Okay. So let me jump in on this. So, in short, yes, and it's something that's under discussion. One of the tracks that we don't cover in a lot of detail on these roadmap reveals are some of the architectural changes that we're making, and our architecture team is working through a number of different tracks, but those include, when we get into the weeds, the removal of dependencies on Meteor and Molecular, which then enable us to be in a position to have a fully separate front end and back end. The advantage, and the reason I'm mentioning that in conjunction with this question, and the ability to have a fully separate front end and back end enables us to have multiple front ends. This has come up with a number of different organizations. When we complete that work during the course of this year, that will then allow us potentially to introduce an admin-only separate tool that then we can think about the appropriate security structure between the two.
Yeah.
So hopefully that's.
And the microservices architecture too, right? So because then some of those specific endpoints for administrator can be run on a separate a microservice or a separate container, and then the access to that container can be restricted. So the whole idea of breaking Rocket.Chat more into those components, both in the UI and also on the backend, will allow us to get a lot more flexibility on how you manage and access each of those components, like internally and externally. So,
yep. Okay, good. Well, for those who have been able to stay on, we appreciate the few extra minutes as we've been running over. And just to emphasize again, in terms of follow-ups and questions, we love to have the opportunity to dig into this stuff more with any of you. So if there are follow-up questions, please mark the yes in the poll so we have your contact information. And we would love to dig into more detail on any specific topics in here. Okay.
Yes, thanks everybody. Hopefully we were able to answer all the questions, but if not, please send our way. We're always happy to discuss and engage with the community. And thanks for your time, everybody. It was a pleasure to share our vision and answer your questions today.
Thanks, everyone.
Yes.
Bye-bye.